Jewish performers, Eddie Cantor, Sophie Tucker, were doing blackface as part of their routine. So it was multiple Jewish performers doing this.
It says here, dark makeup worn to mimic the appearance of a black person and especially to mock or ridicule black people. It goes on to say in the notes section, the wearing of blackface by white performers was from the early 19th century through the mid 20th centuries a prominent feature of minstrel shows and similar forms of entertainment featuring exaggerated and inaccurate caricatures of black people. The use of blackface is considered deeply offensive. Then entry number 2, it says plural blackfaces, a performer wearing blackface. And then you see the minstrels. Is this important to know? Is this important to know? And I'm going to tell you, yes, it is important to know. Should we be surprised if they did participate in blackface? Guess what? We should not be surprised. Now, let me just give you some information here, some historical information, because the Jewish community were major players in the transatlantic world war. They call it a slave trade, but it was actually a world war. They were major players here. The same ones that said that they walked with us during the civil rights. The same ones that say that they know our plight. But they were the ones that inflicted these cruelties on our people. They were the ones that was part of the whole world war.
Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but as many as 10,000 Jews served in the Confederate Army, and they served bravely. There was Adolf Proskauer, a recent immigrant from Poland who fought at Seven Pines, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, and Spotsylvania. Wounded at least 3 times, he just couldn't kill this guy. Then there was Louis Leon, also a recent immigrant, this time from Germany, who was one of the few survivors from his brigade who fought at Gettysburg. Now, he was real hardcore, and 50 years after the battle, he had this to say in his memoirs. I still say our cause was just, nor do I regret one thing that I have done to cripple the North. But there's one Confederate who in some ways topped them all. Judah Benjamin was born in the West Indies, grew up in South Carolina, and made his way to New Orleans, where he also made his fortune as an innovative sugarcane plantation owner with 140 slaves.
Jews and Judaism in the United States, a documentary history by Rabbi Mark Lee Raphael. So this is someone from the Jewish community that's highlighting their role in the transatlantic world war, even though they dumbed us down to saying slave trade. It's a world war, and I encourage you guys, look up the definition of a world war.
When Jefferson Davis became the Confederacy's president, he made Judah Benjamin his Attorney General in 1861, then Secretary of War in 1862, and finally Secretary of State. Now, along the way, Judah appeared on the Confederacy's $2 bill. As Secretary of State, Judah Benjamin led the effort to tempt Britain and France into recognizing the Confederacy. But when the Union gained the upper hand in the Civil War, Lord Palmerston and Napoleon III chose not to take the bait, in part because neither really could stomach recognizing a slave-holding nation. Knowing this, Judah Benjamin played his last card. The only way the South could survive would be to free at least those slaves who agreed to fight for the Confederacy.
Jews also took an active part in the Dutch colonial slave trade. Indeed, by laws of the Recife, Mauritia, congregations included an imposta, in other words, a Jewish tax of 5 soldos for each Negro slave a Brazilian Jew purchased from the West Indies Company. Slave auctions were postponed if they fell on a Jewish holiday. and Carrickio in the 17th century, as well as in the British colonies of Barbados and Jamaica in the 18th century. Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. Notice what it says, Jewish merchants played a major role. See, many of them would try to reduce their role. No, they played a major role in this world war on our people. In fact, in all the American colonies, whether French, British, or Dutch, Jewish merchants frequently dominated. This was no less true on the North American mainland, where during the 18th century, Jews participated in the triangular trade that brought slaves from Africa to West Indies and there exchanged them for molasses, which in turn was taken to New England and converted into rum for sale in Africa. Isaac da Costa of Charleston, that's Charleston, South Carolina, in the 1750s. That's the Jewish guy. David Franks of Philadelphia in the 1760s, Jewish guy. Aaron Lopez of Newport News in the late 1760s, Jewish guy. And early 1770s, dominated Jewish slave trading on the American continent. In these European outposts, the Jews, with their years of mercantile experience and network of friends and family providing market reports of great use, played a significant role in the merchant capitalism, commercial revolution, and territorial expansion that developed the New World and established the colonial economies. The Jewish Caribbean nexus provided Jews with the opportunity to claim a disproportionate influence in the 17th, 18th century New World commerce. You guys better stop looking for this New World Order. It's been here. The New World Order has been here, running full steam ahead.
This could be anywhere in mainland Spain. I've only been to Spain one time, but this could be Madrid. This could be Barcelona. I thought in the U.S. we had made this outfit kind of unpopular, but they're still rolling with it in Spain, apparently.
Would you be surprised if I told you that there were Jewish members of the Ku Klux Klan? New York Times state Klan leader hides secret of Jewish origin. Klan leader here hiding the secret of his Jewish origin. Preaches anti-Semitism. October 31st, 1965. This is a Jewish guy right here. And these is just some highlights from the article. It says a 21-year-old Queens man, Daniel Burroughs, was identified on October 20th as the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan in charge of New York State at hearings of the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Actually, Mr. Burroughs carries a Klan card identifying him as King Kleagle, or chief organizer for the United Klans of America.
Well, photos of children dressed in blackface are sparking reaction now from community leaders in Lakewood. The photos were taken during Purim celebration last week, where members of the Jewish community traditionally dress up in costume. News 12 New Jersey's Jim Murdoch fills us in.
The photos began circulating on social media over the weekend and were quickly condemned by Jewish leaders and the president of the Ocean County chapter of the NAACP. One photo shows two children with their faces painted black wearing colorful West African-style printed clothes. A second photo taken from the back shows two other children wearing dark makeup with afro wigs and sweatshirts with the slogan "Black Lives Matter" written on the back.
Poor taste, actually sick.
Public School Board attorney and community leader Michael Inselbuck says the blame lies on the parents.
Assemblyman Dov Heiken of Borough Park, Brooklyn, in a picture on his son's Facebook page. The Assemblyman, a staunch defender of Jewish civil rights, is wearing what appears to be an afro wig, darkened face, sunglasses, and an orange jersey. He said he was trying to portray a black basketball player during yesterday's Purim holiday. Purim is a holiday when Jewish people celebrate not being annihilated in 13th century Persia. During Purim, Jewish children and some adults dress in costumes, give gifts to friends, and feast.
Purim, you get dressed up. And again, if you've seen the pictures of what people look like, it's everything you can imagine and what you can't imagine. It's bizarre, it's crazy. People get dressed up as Indians. People get dressed up as black. Never meant to offend anyone. So I realize that people see it that way, but it was not meant in that fashion at all, period.
This is the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, Jews and Blackface, A Complicated History. February 6, 2019. It says, when it comes to the Jewish experience with blackface, the picture is, well, not so black and white. It goes on to say, for Jews, the controversy surrounding Virginia Governor Ralph Northam suggests a complicated history that runs from Al Jolson to Eddie Cantor to former Brooklyn Assemblyman Dov Hikind. Northam is walking in the footsteps of Al Jolson, born Asa Jolson in Lithuania, to Jewish parents who immigrated to the United States. The actor, singer, known at the height of his popularity as the world's greatest entertainer, often performed blackface. So Al Jolson was world-renowned. He was considered and labeled as the world's greatest entertainer. Guess what? This Jewish guy performed quite often in blackface. This is Al Jolson right here, performing Mammy. You can look it up. This is him in blackface. This is a Jewish guy in blackface. Going back to this article, Jolson's career flourished as a result of his portrayal of African Americans, most notably in the 1927 film The Jazz Singer. The first full-length talkie, in other words, talking film, whose hallmark moment is his emotional singing, overdrawn white lips of Mammy. At the time, Jolson was arguably better known in the country than any genuinely black performer. The current debate over the propriety of non-blacks impersonating blacks, especially through wearing makeup on their faces, whether accompanied by stereotyped black language and mannerism or not, is focusing attention on the history of blackface. The debate exists at the intersection of cultural affinity, cultural appropriation, and the practice changing perceptions in part of both black and white society. Blackface has a long Jewish history. Let me make this clear. This is coming from a Jewish publication, the Telegraphic Agency, making it clear that blackface has a long Jewish history. Let me say it one more time. Blackface has a long Jewish history. I'm quoting from a Jewish publication. It says that blackface has a long Jewish history. The practice originated in the late 1820s with white male performers portraying African American characters by applying burnt cork to their faces. These minstrel acts grew in popularity through the 1840s, frequently exposing white audiences in the North to a depiction of Southern black life. Mark Twain and Abraham Lincoln were known to attend minstrel shows. White and black performers, let me say this again, white and black performers, in addition to Jolson, leading Jewish entertainers who also performed in blackface included such prominent names as Eddie Cantor, George Burns, George Jessel, and Sophia Tucker. Jews played a disproportionate role and the entertainment industry. Wait a minute, what do we just see here? This is from the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. It says the Jews then played a disproportionate role in the entertainment industry. Jews performed this kind of minstrelsy in the 1910s, in the 1920s, better and more than any other group in America. Come on, family. Come on, family. Come on, family. Doesn't it sound familiar? Why does it seem like everything that was against our people, they excelled in it? Took it to another level, according to the sources that we shared.
As soon as I saw him put on the blackface, I thought, when in the history of our country did it become non-political to be blackface? We accepted that very easily, but as it moved on, at some point, you would never do that today. When did that kind of stop?
It's a very astute observation. One thing that, again, many people have said about the jazz singer is that the heyday of blackface was actually the middle of the 19th century. And by the time that we see it here in 27, blackface was really on its way out. And so it's interesting that other, again, Jewish performers, Eddie Cantor, Sophie Tucker, were doing blackface as part of their routine. So it was multiple Jewish performers doing this. But you're right, it was definitely, as we might term today, it was already becoming not PC, but still being used by certain people in this time period.
What's your thoughts? Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click the like, click the notification bell, and subscribe to this channel.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.